What's the framework and the kind of approach look like?
Sure. So we want to start the call, and just from an introduction in general, we look at three things. We want to be clear, we want to be compelling, and we want to be confident. So if I tell you to be confident, that's great. Like, oh, great. I'll just go be confident, right? That just comes through repetition and practice. So, we like to say you should know your intro like you know your Pledge of Allegiance. And it's important that there's two really uncomfortable parts of a call: the introduction and the closing. And so I think just in general, like take the uncomfortableness out of it, if that's a word. I think it is. Take that out of it and just memorize those portions of the call. So when you get to that, it's like framework. But when we get into it, what we like to do, because we work in a lot of service industries, is we just simply state that we specialize in blank industry. And then we offer up a question around what we know is a key problem or topic in that industry. So for example, in IT, if I'm calling a manufacturer, I'll say something to the effect of, Jason, I'm reaching out to you because we actually specialize in IT for manufacturing companies just like yourself. And what I've been hearing in the market is they're constantly trying to find ways to become more secure as a business. I was curious, what are some of your strategies around security? And then we teach a very easy framework before you get better at active listening. So what I've found is active listening is tough to teach. It comes with time and experience and getting more comfortable. So very simply, just a very easy thing is when you get into the questioning part of calls is we have relevant topics, so that's a problem or a common theme in the industry. And then we go situation, most consistent issue, and what would take it to the next level. So situation is something to the effect of how are you handling with, how are you dealing with, what strategies do you have in place? So I want to know their situation. And if ideally, like as I get my sales skills up, I can just ask that question. And if they give me a good answer, I can ask another one, actively listening through that. But if you get stuck, which happens for a lot of new reps, the next question is what would you say your most consistent issue is with your security? Now, a lot of people will say, well, why would a prospect answer that? You would be surprised. Like a lot of times, at least in the services portion of what we do, and a lot of products, honestly, they'll say, they'll open up. Well, this is what I'm dealing with, right? And then as soon as you have that, like you have the window for the close, and you can use what they said to close the call. And then, but the last thing is you will have some people like, nope, we don't have any issues. Then you ask them, what would take it to the next level? Or if I was one I like is, well, what's on your security wish list for this year? What would take your, if I were a genie and I could grant you one wish with your IT, what would it be? Something where you can't object to it. You have to. I mean, you can be rude and hang up the call, but it's and that just easy framework kind of helps new reps as they're getting into calls. And then, at any time we teach, if you find an opening, split it open, ask them a question, actively listen, dive deeper into a topic, mirror it, repeat it, ask a follow-up question. And I guess now that I'm here, we have our closing, which is very similar to a lot of people, but based on what you shared with me today. I would recommend that I sit you down with blank, and we like to use the name of the person that they're meeting with. And then we close with 2 dates and times to try to get them to, would prefer that they object to the time rather than the object of the meeting. And then we have 2 follow-up closes as well. And the first one is, as well as I do. So most people are comfortable with status quo. So a lot of people are going to say, my security's fine. Like I don't have anything in place. And so an example would be, understand you mentioned with your security currently, you feel like you have everything quite in a good spot, but as well as I do, security is changing every day and technology is getting more advanced by the minute. What I would recommend is you sit down with blank to make sure no matter what, you have your bases covered. And we start this relationship, should we ever see a fit in the future, 2 dates, 2 times. And then the last one is the worst case scenario. And some people differ on this, and a lot of our reps aren't comfortable closing 3 times in a call. I think you should close 3 times in a call, even if you don't set the appointment. You get the truth. You get what the actual direction is.